ugly truth. Ever wondered what really happens behind closed doors? P.I. Ray, a Connecticut private detective, spills the beans on the gritty secrets of catching infidelity, but that's not all. Miss Mila has also seen her fair share of chaos, except in the world of real estate gone wrong. With 23 years in the business as a real estate agent and broker, she's witnessed deals that took a nosedive and dreams that turned into nightmares. This is The Ugly Truth, and here are your hosts, P.I. Ray and Miss Mila.
Hi, welcome to The Ugly Truth. Today we're going to talk about angry and disruptful clients, both on her real estate side as a broker and me as a private detective. Got some doozies, a couple of them. We don't have a lot of time for all of them because there's so many.
That is for sure.
So let's get into it. Go ahead on the real estate side.
So on the real estate side, when I first started, I had my assistant, which was my mother, and we would sit in the conference room and we would ask clients, like, we would sit down and say, what are you interested in purchasing? And, they preview the pre-approval. And, we would look at houses like on the screen. We had a projector. Yeah. And this family, who was a couple, and they were like, we would like a multifamily. And I was like, oh, it's a great investment. It's great. Yeah, it's a great investment. Yep. Awesome. It's great. And they were looking, and I said, okay. So we're taking down information. They're like, well, we think it'd be a great investment, but, we don't want Section 8 because we don't want to rent to those Puerto Ricans.
But as a former landlord, you don't have to take Section 8 in particular properties, right?
But did you hear those Puerto Ricans?
Ooh, no, I didn't. Oh, racist people.
Those Puerto Ricans.
Damn. Honestly, in this day and age, really.
So where do you want to eat? Wait, let me guess. Taco Bell.
Now, that's offensive to you. Why?
Why is that offensive to me? Well, not only to me, but next to me is my mother, who is born in Puerto Rico, who is Puerto Rican. And thank goodness she was not in the room. Okay, she stepped out.
A sandal thrown across the room.
A chancla would have went 100%. Listen,
with accuracy.
I would have been ready. It would have been like already in the air.
Yeah.
So she was out getting the printouts of the properties, and I said, my assistant, her name was Lolita, and nobody knew she was my mother, and I was like, my face. Yeah. The worst thing was my face. I couldn't. Like, who says these things? And, I'm like, okay. And before she came out, I'm like, I just want to let you know, my mother is Puerto Rican. I said, I am half Puerto Rican and Peruvian. I was born in America, but my father's from Peru and my mom's from Puerto Rico. Their face, you should have seen it.
I can only imagine.
They were like
run in the car, close the doors, and take off.
And I was just like, I don't think that this is going to work out. I said, I can't work, number one, with somebody that feels that way.
Yeah, of course. Definitely.
And the disrespect. And there's no way to backpedal in that situation.
Not after it came out of your mouth, no.
And, they were like, and that was the time, we signed the exclusive right to represent, that basically I represent them. I had it out, and I just said, I just think that, it's better you find a different realtor at that time. Yeah, and maybe we're just not a good fit. I wanted to say something more, but unfortunately, at that time, my mother had walked in. So I didn't want to let her know because, again, it's
at that point, what's the point?
It's not. And they just they literally, I think I just saw them just run out. I think it was like all I saw was the door slam, and I was like, "We're done here. Like, there's nothing more to talk about." I just don't know how they. Number one, they never apologized. Yeah, they didn't say I'm sorry.
I'm sure they didn't want to speak anything. They didn't want to say another word.
Yeah.
Time for Jimmy's bed.
Right. So that's bad. When I first started real estate, that's kind of was like an introduction of one of my disrespectful situations.
Wow. Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a few too. They're a little different than that though. Mine are more violent, angry. Okay, so we'll get into the first one. I think I got two here I can talk about today. But so I get called by a gentleman who thinks his wife is cheating on him. At the time, she was driving a bus, yellow bus for school kids back and forth to school. And the gentleman said, I want you to pick her up from the house, follow her to the bus depot, follow her on her route for the bus. And then, at the end of the time, she always stops and has relations
Right. I have a question. Like,
in the bus.
you're following the bus?
Yeah, I followed the bus.
Did you
Stopped.
follow her to work first and then the bus,
I
or
started
just
from her
bus?
house, followed her to her work, which was the bus depot. Watched her get into the bus she got on. Followed the bus.
You followed the bus? Like,
I do it
that's
all the
pretty
time.
creepy.
I do it all the time.
Really?
Oh yeah, I follow buses all the
okay.
time. Transit too.
Oh.
If I got to follow somebody who doesn't have a car and they get on a bus, I follow the bus around.
Okay,
Sure.
so you followed the yellow bus.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're actually easy to follow because they're slow. They stop all the time, and the bus driver's got so much chaos and they don't pay
Oh,
attention.
I'm sure with all those kids
Yeah,
and
I could
everything.
probably follow
They,
with a Hot Wheel. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal.
they probably with a go-kart, you can
Yeah.
probably follow them.
The problem here is that he says at the end of her shift, which is about 4 hours, because just dropping off kids at different schools,
Yep.
that she was having an affair with somebody, coworker or otherwise, in the bus, and when she parked on the side of the road or some parking lot somewhere or something, which seemed a little ridiculous, but I've seen a lot. So I followed her to the bus depot, followed her to each and every single stop and each and every single school, and then when she was done, went back to the bus depot. Clocked out, got in her car, and went home.
So she didn't cheat.
She didn't cheat.
She didn't have lunch with anybody.
Nope.
She didn't do absolutely anything.
She did nothing, unless it was with a child on the bus, which I doubt.
Well, that's a whole different
Yeah,
case. That's not
yeah.
even
And she was never pulled
infidelity.
over long enough to do it. So.
Okay.
But so I called my client on my way back to my office, and I told him the news, and he was livid. He
Oh.
literally said, I don't believe you. I think my wife got in touch with you, and now you're working for her, and you're both lying. I said, what? What the hell are you talking about?
Wait a minute. I was with you at that time. You liar. How dare you? You're cheating with a
If you see this bus
client.
driver, you wouldn't worry. He probably shouldn't be either, but so in the meantime, he got angry. Basically, I ended up telling him to hit the road. I'm done with you. I'm not going to do any more hours for you because you're a nutcase, So I went back to my office. I had a spy shop in the south end of Hartford at the time, secretary. I'm sitting at my desk. She's sitting at her desk. Customers are coming in and coming out. All of a sudden, I see a box truck pull up in front of our store, and I see this guy get out. Now, he charged at the front door, and I could see right through, and I'm looking at him like, oh, this is not going to be good. So he comes barging through the front door, and the way we had it set up where you'd have to come through the showroom and then around the desk to get to where my desk was in the back. So I saw him coming. I said, oh, hell no. My secretary's freaked out because she already knew the story. She's on with 911 already. He's screaming and yelling, he's going to kill me, he's going to kill me. So as a big fan of the Second Amendment.
Well, before you get to Second Amendment, like, was he in your face?
He didn't get to me yet.
Oh,
He was still coming toward me.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was
crossing the showroom and just about to get behind the secretary's desk, and then mine was behind hers.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
as he's traveling as fast as he can in the store, she's, like I said, panicked and already starting to dial 911. So as a fan of the Second Amendment, I basically pulled out, Smiley, put it on the desk.
Smiling.
And as soon as he saw it, boom, stopped dead in his tracks, 180, ran out to the box truck and took off.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Secretary explained to the police. They tracked him down, and they ended up getting for threatening charges, all kinds of things.
Really? So
Yeah.
he just left. He didn't.
Oh, he took off
did-
because he knew if he came any closer, he would look like Swiss cheese. So, yeah, it wasn't going to happen.
So she called 911. He left. He took off, and they ended up finding him
Yeah.
because obviously you had where his residence was at this time. So he
The
was.
residence, and his box truck was not slow. It was smoke coming out. He probably was only doing 20, 30 miles an hour max in that junk.
I'm sure they
So
caught up to it real
they
fast.
caught
I'm
up
sure
to him
they
pretty
did. I'm
fast.
sure.
Yeah, they gave me a copy of the report. They arrested him. It was a whole thing. So I never heard from him again. So that's just one example of what can happen in this kind of job.
Yeah. Well, that's a thing too. He was very convinced that you were cheating with his
for
wife.
sure, I was having an affair with his wife. Trust me, I was not.
Yeah. I mean, this is just a couple of things that happened, but let me tell you, I think we never get surprised when it comes to some people.
I don't anymore.
Yeah,
No, I
like
don't. Definitely
honestly,
not.
I
Sure.
do sometimes because I don't understand, like things that come out of people's mouths or they're, like you're like, I can't even believe that person said that.
No, the world is crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't know who you're dealing with.
And you have to be careful nowadays because like you said, he
Yeah.
came charging in and you don't know if he has a weapon. You don't know if he's going to come in swinging or whatever, breaking things,
Yeah.
for instance.
I don't care if anybody's charging at me. You're getting shot. It's just that simple.
Yeah, I don't carry, but I've had someone try to charge at me.
Yeah,
So
same.
I
Never fun.
it was,
Never
you
fun.
know, you know, I, like I said, hold my hoops. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's hold my hoops. Hold these hoops. That's it. I'm
Sure.
ready to go. Let's go. You know, you're gonna
Yeah.
charge. Something's gonna happen, and you know what? It's just
It's your own fault.
it is. It's your own fault. You know, but he probably should have known you're a PI. I mean, you obviously, you know,
I just
you're
think he was so irate. His eyes went back into his head like a shark, and he just was under the impression for some reason mental illness. I'm sure probably contributed as well.
no. He was
Because,
convinced that like his wife was
well,
cheating.
he's
Like he
convinced.
was convinced.
Yeah, not only he's convinced she's cheating, and she could be. I
Okay.
just in that 1 4 hour shot, she wasn't. But
Oh,
she
okay.
could be in real life, and the rest of her life, I don't know. But that particular morning, she wasn't. But the skill that I have to follow her from work into the
Oh
bus with
God.
children on the bus, and then at the end she ends up going back to Home Depot. Somewhere in there, Rico Suave came out. I went
You're
into the
like,
bus and I'm
yeah.
like, "Hey, baby, this is a big bus you got here," and she's like, "Oh, gee, golly, gee, yeah, okay, psycho son of a bitch."
Yeah, but the thing is too, you also record everything.
Yeah.
So you had proof, I mean,
Well, I have cameras in the
yeah,
office, everything.
I mean,
So
yeah.
the
So
whole
you
thing
have,
is
no,
on
and
there.
I'm saying that like when you're on a case, you're
Well, I'm
recording everything. You're
videotaping
videotaping,
her.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
videotaping
of
her.
course. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
There was no video of me in the bus with her. I could promise you that for sure, 100%.
oh my goodness, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it is crazy.
That is
I actually
crazy.
had one time, and you'll know because he showed up here at the house.
Oh my gosh, this is a crazy one. Now, we literally I think we just moved. I
Yeah,
think we just moved,
we
and
did.
just had my daughter, and I actually knew a person that dated this person, and like I couldn't believe it because when I opened the window or whatever, and I saw outside what was going on. But it's really scary because if somebody shows up to your residence, to your home, that especially when your family is there, this
Sure.
job is very
Yep.
scary, especially when you have a child, So go ahead with that one. I remember that one. That one
So
was probably the most difficult because it literally hit home. It hit
yeah,
home.
no, actually, it did. So again, somebody came into my business and they wanted me to install a security camera system at their property. This again was in the south end of Hartford where he lived. So we priced everything out. He wanted the most expensive system. He wanted everything up to date, DVR, 10 camera. I mean, he wanted the whole thing installed. So, okay, we ordered all the parts. We got everything in. He paid, half the retainer in advance. And then when we installed the equipment, he paid the second half. We finished the job. Beautiful. Everything was functioning properly. There wasn't an area of that property you couldn't see with a camera. It was nice. Then I forgot about him. I didn't even think twice. Next thing you know, I get a call from prison. Okay, I get a call from. This is a
Hello.
call.
This is a call
the
from.
correctional facility. I'm like, what the hell is this, right? So it's him on the line. So I accepted it. I'm like, what's up? What the hell's going on? Oh, I got a little bit of trouble. He says, a little bit of trouble. When I looked it up later, it was interstate drug trafficking, a federal
Just
charge.
just a little
Yeah.
bit of trouble, not a lot.
Now I
Just
know.
a little
Now I know why he
bit.
needed the extreme surveillance system on
Okay,
his house.
yeah.
Right?
Now
'Cause-
you know. You didn't even think
Yeah,
maybe like when
yeah.
you're installing this,
Yeah.
like oh my
No,
gosh, like
it was a 10 camera system, fully digital, everything up to date at the time, and it came with a free scale for the drugs. No,
no. I'm like what? It really did. I was like wow, that's
no. But he was pissed. He was on the phone. He's like, I never even got to use that camera system because I got arrested and I want my money
You
back.
about to get some of this? You ain't getting none yet. None of my money.
So
yet.
wait a minute. How long was he in jail?
Actually, we had that argument on the phone when he was in jail. That was probably
Okay.
a month after I installed them.
Okay.
And then we had it out on the phone. I told him basically, get out of here. I did the job. It's there. If you want them, have somebody go take them off the wall because they obviously confiscated the house. So I don't know
Oh,
if you can get
okay.
'em back.
So they went to the
Yeah,
house
they
and did
seized
all
the
that. They
property
seized.
and
Okay.
everything.
All right.
Like all drug charges are. They seize property that's involved in it. I'm sure he probably had stuff in the house, whatever
Okay.
it was. And and I looked up the charges. So about 3 years later, all of a sudden, he shows up at the house. He got out of jail. He came here. He pulled up in front.
3 years. So
3
3
years
years.
later.
3 years he's been in jail thinking about
Yeah.
these cameras that
No, not
you
the
installed?
cameras. He's thinking about the money that he spent.
Oh,
He
he's
wants it
thinking-
back.
Oh, he wants it back.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, I mean, really? I'm like, you spent this investment. No, I mean, he kind of knew if he was in that type of business, he's going to probably get arrested, right?
Well, I mean, if the criminals were smart, the prisons would be empty.
Oh, that's true.
So, I mean,
yeah. But I
yeah.
mean, I'm thinking to myself, wow, you're sitting there like, I spent $3,000, but at that time it was a good investment,
no, at that
right?
time it was $10,000.
Oh my
Yeah, he
gosh.
spent a lot of money on the system. He's top of the line everything we ordered.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was like
and
three.
this is that would probably be probably a $25,000 system right now because of inflation and everything. Because this was years ago.
Oh.
Oh yeah, he spent a lot of money. There's no doubt about it. He spent a lot of money.
Let's drop my mic.
But so I saw him pull up. I said, "Oh no, here we go." So I went outside. We had it out again. We almost came to fisticuffs, but luckily he came to his senses about 20 minutes into arguing with him out there, and he ended up taking off.
What would his whole argument with you like? Because I didn't
He just came here
hear.
and wanted a check. He wanted money.
Oh, he wanted money.
Yeah, he wanted his 10+ grand, whatever it was, back. And again, I told him that's not going to happen, bro. Can you show up at my house for this? Now, again, he's a drug dealer, so who knows if he's going to pull a weapon, if he's going to start a fight. I mean,
Well, isn't he on probation?
I don't know. I didn't find out the details, but I'm sure he's probably, if he's out of jail already, he's on parole. 'Cause he's a
Parole,
felon.
probation,
But,
one of those things. Like
Yeah.
you can't, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure he can't carry. I mean,
well,
you think?
nobody says he's going to do it legally.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Criminals don't follow the laws. That's what the big
I didn't
issue
think
is with
about
all
that.
this
I
gun
didn't think
control.
about
It doesn't
that.
make any
I
sense.
I totally did not think
Oh,
about
they changed
that.
the laws. We can't own guns anymore. Criminals are just dropping them in the streets. They're not having them anymore.
Well, at least he walked away because all I saw was the whole dispute from
Yeah.
the window, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just had a baby. This is crazy. Like, what is going on?
So
And
he came to his senses and he left. And, that was a nice avoidance of another problem that I could have definitely had because this guy was also pretty irate. He was pissed.
wow, yeah. So what?
Yeah, he did call a few times over the 3 years while he was in prison, but I didn't accept the charges. Sorry.
Hi, I'm calling you again about my money refund
Yeah.
for the cameras you installed
Yeah,
3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Wow.
going to say his name, but it would say his name first. Hi, there's a call from
Yeah.
such and such from a correctional facility, but no, not answering anymore. Go to hell.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, that's some of the scenarios that we deal with in the world of investigations and real estate.
Yeah, real
It
estate.
gets hairy sometimes, and sometimes they just get right in your face.
They
don't
do.
really care.
I mean, there's been thank goodness, in my real estate, there's like fighting, like fist fighting, you know what I mean? Or that type of, someone
Yeah.
charging at you. I mean, it's never been like that. It's more of verbal abuse, I would say, more of a person being disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole nother day with agents because I could do like 10 episodes on that one.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think that when it comes, like you said, somebody charging at you and somebody, you don't ever know if they have a weapon or anything, or you don't know their, state of mind, like you said.
Sure.
But
Especially the clientele, there's a lot of them that are, in the underworld that I deal with. It's just part of the job. And the difference between me and you is that I don't think a lot of these guys in the underworld are going to be able to come up with bank statements and W-2s. So you kind of weed out a lot of those problems just by being in that professional position you're in. That's all.
that is true. But, but that is our story for today.
That's it for now.
That is the ugly truth. I'm Miss Mila.
P.I. Ray.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Ugly Truth. Find P.I. Ray on TikTok at CT Private Detective and the website at ctprivatedetective.com. Find Miss Mila on TikTok and Instagram at Jamila_CT Realtor. Be cool, and we'll see you next time on The Ugly Truth.